Well, hello there, family, friends, and viewers from across the world. Joy Cool here. That was a tribute to my YouTube buddy, Joey Drones. He always starts out his videos with viewers from across the world, so I thought I'd start this video out to a tribute to Joey Drones. That's a pretty cool name to have for a YouTube channel. Well, today I really got some courage, something I've been wanting to do for a long time, and that is to go see this ghost town, an actual ghost town in the middle of San Francisco Bay. And the reason I say courage is I've never flown this far before. I've watched videos and seen other people do it, but before I flew out there, I noticed these cows out in the middle of the San Francisco Bay. They got a pretty good view, don't they? They weren't scared of the drone. I thought they'd be running off, but they must be used to technology down here in Silicon Valley. So I left them alone. I didn't want to disturb our steaks. So I headed off to that island way out there. You can see why I'm a little scared, because I don't see any buildings and I've never been out here before. But I did see it on Google Map. All I need to do is follow that windy road to the railroad tracks and follow those railroad tracks to that island way out there. So I had the old Phantom 4 range thingy-mabobs on them, on the antennas. My thingy-mabobs makes the range go a little further, but you still are scared, because right about here you lose line of sight. You don't see your drone anymore. But boy, did I climbed a little higher, because there's power poles here and there, and I sure would hate to lose a drone. But you can see these old salt ponds. They used to fill these up and drain them for salt. That's why they got that red color to it. That'll evaporate and they'll take the salt right out of there. So I figured I'd get a fresh battery, quit looking at cows, and make my way, hightail it I should say, all the way out to that island. With a fresh battery and a little bit of courage, I decided to see where I'm gonna go. The only thing you could really lose now is, well, your drone and your mind, because you'll say, why didn't I go? You can see the salt evaporating in the water. But this ghost town used to be a community of people that lived out here, and they used to fish out here. Oh, long before these salt ponds were here, there was just an open bay of ducks. That's what they really did, was not much fishing. Well, fishing also, but a lot of duck hunting. So I've never been out here before, as I've said before, and I'll probably say it again. I was scared, and I could not really get my bearings. I've seen it on Google Earth, but I never was out here before. So when you see me kind of going, where am I? Well, you'll understand when you've never been somewhere. And of course it was really bright out, and see it on the screen, I had no shade. So I'm flying in the dark, but as I get closer, oh boy, there they are. Right like they said, right where they said they would be. Right off the railroad tracks is a ghost town. Long gone. There might be some ghosts still there, you never know. I tell you what, they got a good little spot to hunt ducks and to fish right there next to the railroad tracks. They would bring in the tourists, and the tourists would stay there and duck hunt and fish. But their problem was the buildings were sinking into the bay. They stayed out there for, I would say, 20, 30 years, but their buildings started sinking, and they tried to put plywood underneath it, but you know you cannot stop Mother Nature. So all these people ended up moving their families out of here, and you can see they had to move pretty far away back in those days. And this was the water tower. As I drop on down here a little bit, there was a water tower here next to the train tracks. That was the post office. They called this the little town of Drawbridge. And if you look on Google Maps, you might be able to find it. Drawbridge in the middle of the San Francisco Bay. All you got to do is really look up Fremont, and go out into the bay. You'll see it off the tracks. They did a little TV show on it, and I knew I had to get out there and fly. But it was a pretty neat experience, but I can say it again and again, I was scared. I would like to go back out there when the lighting's just right and get a little lower. But I am happy with this first trip out to Ghost Island. Let's just call it Ghost Island. That sounds better than Drawbridge. Besides, I don't really see any drawbridge on Drawbridge. Well, right about here, I was getting a little confident. You know, I was scared of, this thing is inhabited by birds, so I'm afraid a bird, or even a homeless person. You know, a homeless person could have lived out there and jumped out, and so I didn't get any lower than that. I was a little scared. You can see there's a building off in the distance, way back there by the other bridge. So maybe next time I'll get out there. I bet you that's a pretty shot in the morning with the high tide and the water all the way up. But yeah, it's right about here. I was gonna go over there to the other side, but I thought, I want to take another look at this. So I lifted up because I'm not really sure of any telephone wires. And I ran over those tracks nice and high. Boy, it would have been neat to see a train coming across, but didn't have any luck there. Just had to settle for this ghost town. And yeah, it was quite an experience to see this community. The skeleton. Really, that's what this is a graveyard of old houses that used to be families and friends and music and barbecues and fish fries. Look at that old house right there. That was a doozy. You can still see the green paint. I would like to drop down on this, but at this point I'm still a little nervous of dropping down any lower because I don't want any birds being disturbed. You know, this is their home, a bird sanctuary. So I left them alone. At this point, I thought I'd get one more shot of the old post office and the mud that's swallowing it up whole. The San Francisco Bay. And the houses out there to the left. I'm gonna have to go further out next time. There's some more structures. Like I said, this is just the first maiden trip out to Ghost Island, or drawbridge on Google Maps. There's a nice shot of the front of that old post office or store. I'm sure it was a combination of both, but at this point I said, alright, I've wore out my time here and it was time to put this Phantom 4 Pro back into gear, in high gear at that, and give you one more shot of this beautiful town with the buildings just sinking into the bay. Isn't that the way the earth works? Just swallows you whole. I do appreciate you taking this trip with me, and we'll see you on the next one. There's your electricity, big and tall. Peace and love. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.